2011 Ford Fusion. I already changed the mount here on the passenger side and the mount that's down underneath. Plenty of videos out there already that show that, but I haven't seen too many that really show the transmission side. So again, 2011 Ford Fusion. It's got the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder. So we need to clear this area out here because the mount is underneath the battery tray. So you want to pop this little red piece away, and then that allows this to be disconnected. So that's the first thing. I already took 2 of the latches off for the air box. I loosened this screw right here, which allows this to pull off, and then the air box lid will disengage. And there's the filter. And this connector right here, it's got the little plastic locking mechanism. Goes to this side of the filter box, that nipple there. That allows you to fold the airbox back and out of the way. Again, there's that piece that connected to right there. I just left the others connected, again, as long as that's out of the way. Now we're going to get that airbox out. That filter's only a couple years old, so we'll leave it in there. Now the airbox is just pushed in. The base, there are no fasteners that hold it. You'd think that nut right there, that bolt, needs to come out, but it doesn't. This just pulls out. And you'll see there's just those little protrusions on the bottom that fit down into those 3 little rubber grommets. And down here behind these wiring harnesses, this here is your motor mount. There's some other stuff going on that has to come out in order to get the mount out. But next, we've got to get the battery and the tray out. And for that, a good old adjustable wrench does the trick. And the fastener right there, that bolt is 8 millimeters, so we'll get that out next. And the bolts for the battery tray, there are 3 of them. These are 10 millimeter. You're going to need probably a deep well for the back 2. And the only issue with the battery tray is they have attached a lot of these wiring harnesses to the battery tray. So that just makes it a little more cumbersome to get it out of the way. And I think I only had to disconnect the one that was connected here to the corner. But I think I can pull it out of the way far enough that I should be able to access everything that I need to get to. I do know this cable here, this is your transmission cable. That'll have to be removed. A couple of bolts down there so that we can get to this bolt right here, which is clearly under the cable. So the next thing I need to do is get the jack under the transmission, because when we take this loose, this side of the engine is going to want to drop down. So we need to support the engine before we start taking the bolts out for the mount. And the bolts for the transmission cable are 13 millimeter. And these are not very tight, so don't need to use any additional help with that, like an air ratchet or anything. So we got those 2 nuts to remove there. And that allows you to pull it out of the way just to give you access to that bolt right there in the corner. So there are 4 bolts on the main bracket that attaches to the transmission. The one in the corner there, you can use a standard socket, but I'll need a 13mm deep well for the other 3. So there's one there, and one right there. And these are going to be a bit tighter, so you're going to need something a little more substantial to get these broken loose. And that one is not too bad. Now these usually have Loctite on them, so even after you break them loose, there's resistance getting them out all the way. And it looks like I told you wrong, so it looks like the corner is 13mm. And the remaining 3 are 15mm, and you're going to need a deep well for those. Now, if you have access to air tools and a compressor, this is a good time to use them on these bolts right here. They'll just come out a lot faster because the Loctite provides a lot of resistance, and there's no loosening them the rest of the way with your fingers. And actually, before I do that, this main bolt that goes right through the center of the bushing, this guy right here is an 18mm. I think I'm going to go ahead and get it loosened up next. And be prepared for things to fall. You probably saw that fall off the back. I always panic when I don't hear it hit the ground, but this was pretty easy to find. Okay, the 4 bolts are out of the bracket. We'll take the cross bolt through, and I can already tell by the way this is wiggling that it is definitely totally damaged. This piece here should be rigid, and it is not. So now I need to get this wiring harness disconnected from that. It's probably one of those push-in plastic connectors. Okay, now it's just a matter of getting this bracket up and out of the way. Got it. And on the back side of this bushing, actually this is just going to come apart altogether. There's this rubber piece here which comes with the new one. Just need to make sure you get that installed with it. So now this is the new mount. So you got 2 bolts coming in from the top. They're pretty much underneath this fuse box. And then there are 2 bolts coming in from the side along the frame rail. They're a little more challenging to get to. So I think I'll loosen up the bolts that hold the fuse box in, see if we can get a little movement there. And these are 10mm. I was actually surprised at how easily that main center bolt down there came out. I was expecting it to be a lot more difficult, but it was actually not bad. Of course, I was using an air tool, so loosening that up did not really give much, and I really don't want to have to disconnect the wiring down here if I don't have to. So that means to get to those bolts, I'll be using some universal joints, so stay in focus. And the other thing for one of these side bolts down here, I actually had to borrow this from a friend of mine. This is a 13mm ratchet wrench. Comes in handy. There you can see I got the U-joint. You can see the green socket there down on the end. So I'm able to get this one on there, and I can actually start loosening it. So I don't know if I'll be that lucky on the one behind it or not. I'll have to come in from the back side of that fuse box. And the little ratchet wrench here is not absolutely necessary, but it's a little hard to get a socket on there. You can, it's just a little tricky. But it's a slow process. And if you're real careful, you can pull the fuse box out of the way and you're able to get a U-joint, it's hard to see there, with a socket on that bottom bolt. And if I get the light shining just right, you can see, I'm trying to hold the flashlight and get the camera to focus at the same time, and it is. There we go, sort of, maybe. Can get a ratchet in there with a universal joint to get both of those back bolts out. And this camera really struggles. I guess we got so many things in and out of different focal distances, it struggles to figure out exactly what you're trying to do. Okay, on to the last couple of bolts. And the last bolt on that back part of the frame, which will not stay in focus no matter what I do, is easy to get to, although it's a little slow because you don't have a big swing with the wrench here, but you can get that last bolt out. And with the last bolt out, this thing will come out. And we already knew it was completely destroyed. And now we can get the new one in. Back to the fun stuff. And I got all 4 bolts for the new mount in. This little plastic piece is actually what was underneath, and that is what this cable gets taped to. So I pulled it out of the old mount, kind of mangled it up there, but let's see if I can push it back in and we can reuse it. Yep, it goes in. So now I just need to tape that back on there. And don't forget this piece of rubber, it goes on the back side of the mount. So I'm getting the frame in there. That actually mounts to the transmission. This fits over that. So there's the mount, everything is installed. The other mount on this side was completely destroyed, just like this one. And again, there are plenty of videos out there that show this one real well, and they also show the mount underneath. But why not add one more for the driver's side? All right, well, I hope that helps out.